I would want to know what was going on. I'd be interested to hear what they were talking about.
I won't stick around for that long. Depends on the dessert menu, though.
What was it about the script or the story of Finding Emily that made you really interested to both of you to be in it?
You know, the script was great, and I really, you know, the music side of it, I was really, you know, really attracted to. But I sat down with Alicia, and we had this long conversation. She asked me loads of questions, and and we just got on really well. And I was kind of like, okay, I want to go and work with Alicia, the director, and I was like, yeah, you know, and then yourself as well. So
that's nice. Yeah, I just was really drawn to the script. It made me laugh, it made me smile. I thought it was such a fun concept. I wanted to do something happy. I wanted to I also just felt like what a treat to like play someone who's like falling in love. That's such a nice thing to get to do every day
so beautiful.
At work. So that was nice.
And were there any iconic rom-com characters or performances which inspired how you guys approached Emily and Owen?
I mean, Bridget Jones she's a really kind of like, you know, frazzled kind of lady who's trying to keep everything together and takes big swings, and it doesn't always work out for her, and then it does. And she's so unapologetically herself, and I just like her kind of chaos. I feel like Emily has a similar kind of like chaos to her.
She's the first American frazzled woman.
I guess so, instead of a frazzled English woman.
Breaking glass ceilings.
Yeah, I'd pick things up here and there from a lot of different things I found. So, oh, that's interesting what that person's just in there, you know. Pull from people I really know, you know. And I guess the music side of stuff for me, there was Jake Bugg was a big one, you know. I think he's far cooler than Owen, maybe. But the music side, you know, I imagine, you know, Owen sitting down young in his bedroom writing music, and, you know, I pull for that, and same haircut and stuff, so.
One of my favorite things we do is every week we bring back an old film to the cinema, so it's like an amazing way for people who are just getting into cinema or are younger to experience those films on the big screen. So I wanted to ask, what's a film that you've maybe watched at home that you would love to see at the cinema?
We went and saw
Breathless.
We went and saw Breathless.
Oh, wow.
Which that was at a certain cinema, I don't know which one, but they did a screening of that. And I think films of that era, kind of the French New Wave, it's so fun to see that on a big screen.
And something me and my colleagues did for the marketing of this film is we went to Manchester Uni with one of our Everyman Cinema sofas, plunked it in the middle of the campus, and we were asking people to share what the craziest thing they've done for a crush is, or like their weird first date stories. So I wanted to read some of them to you, and I'd love to know what you would do if you were in that situation. While we were on a date, the girl was being very elusive, and she kept checking her phone, and at one point she looked at her phone, smirked, and put it in her bag. After that, this guy came and looked at us through the window, and then he came in, and immediately the two of them started arguing in front of me. I just sat there, stared, and eventually left, and I never heard from her again.
What?
So my guess was that she was trying to make someone jealous. So she was like,
oh!
But that's just a theory.
That's wild, man. Yeah, I mean, it makes for a good story, but I imagine in the moment it felt pretty awkward.
I just don't know I don't know how long I would sit there for.
I would want to know what was going on. I'd be interested to hear what they were talking about.
I won't stick around for that long. Depends on the dessert menu, though. But it's also like, I don't know, if that is, you know, what your theory is, that must be a pretty crazy relationship, man.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to get mixed up in that.
Yeah.
I think maybe like down the line I would follow up and be like,
yeah, what happened?
Whatever happened? What was that about?
I texted her saying, like, what was that? What just happened?
Hey, I had a really nice time.
Great date. We do it again.
The second one is, on our first date, we went to get omikaze, and she ended up throwing up all over me.
Oh, shame. Oh.
I mean, in the time it's awkward, but, you know, like, I don't know. If you like the person, it don't really matter that much, I don't think. It's like, I think if you're like, oh no, that's absolutely vile. That's like, I don't want to see that person again. I think that's saying something about you, not them, you know?
Yeah, like I wouldn't hold that against someone if they got sick.
That one was a happy ending because we actually had the couple with us, and they've
Wow.
been together for over a year.
Oh,
And that's
wow.
exactly what they
great.
said. It was 2 girls, and the one who got thrown up over, she was like,
I was really, because I'm normally quite icked out, but I wasn't even like disgusted or anything, and I just found it really funny, and I was like, I must really like her.
Yeah,
No,
wow.
yeah, that's sweet.
I moved to a different city for my thesis project, and there was a guy I was talking to, and we kept saying, we need to meet, and one night someone knocks on my door and he's there, but I never told him where I lived. So he gathered all these details from like her describing her street or like
Okay.
what's across. So she found it romantic.
Okay, well, if she was into that, then that's good.
I think I'd be a bit like flattered, but also
I mean, I don't know. It depends. I think only the 2 people who are in that can say if it's like too much or not.
that's true.
From an outside perspective, it's like, yeah, of course. Like if I was like totally like really into someone and they did that for me, it would be great.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully they would recognize that I'm into them and that would be okay to do.
It's just used to be on video call all the time that I have described him everything, that I stay on this lane, this row, and here, and so.
Okay, I don't know if that's romantic or creepy, but
I know.
and the last one is very topical. My first date ever was when I was on holiday in Italy. The guy was a waiter at this restaurant where I was having lunch. We organized a beach date for the last day of my holiday, and then he drove me to the airport. We exchanged numbers, but I typed it in wrong, so I've never heard from him again. She knows his first name, but not his last name either.
She should go back, man. That's what I'd do. I'd go back, you know. Just go back. And if you don't find him, at least you can have some tiramisu. That's what I'd do. Just go back.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, that's. I mean, you never know. Like you might. The world works in mysterious ways, but
Yeah.
it's also sometimes beautiful to just like have a moment with someone that's like kind of kept in time, and I think that's nice too. But
Sometimes following up ruins it a little bit.
Exactly. There's that thing about like how you're meant to meet like a certain amount of people in your life,
Wow.
and you meet them in every lifetime, and you can meet someone for like 20 minutes or 10 seconds, then have someone you know that you've known from like young to all the way like your whole life,
Yeah.
and it's like you learn and something from them, and there's just like a bond there, you know. So maybe it's just one of them, and they were
Yeah.
meant to meet, and then apparently you never, once you stop seeing them or that moment in time has stopped, you never see them again ever, you know, and you're never meant to see them again. So maybe it's that.
What's his name?
Daniel.
Daniel from...
Oh, Lecce, if you're out there.
If you're out there,
Hey.
call her.
Yeah.
And what is your guys' first movie that you remember experiencing at the cinema, and how did that make you feel?
My parents were taking me to the cinema like my whole life. They took me to a movie that had a lot of violence in it, and they thought it's fine. She's a kid. She doesn't care. And then afterwards, I asked them. I was like, "What was all that red paint for?"
Stop.
I remember just going to the cinema all the time, and Pirates of the Caribbean, High School Musical, all that animated films as well. Like
I would love to see High School Musical at the cinema.
oh yeah, High School Musical 3. I went and saw that with my
jealous.
best friend, and we wore matching outfits. And it was really
I love
fun.
that. Did you sing along?
No singing in the cinema. Also,
I
it was
agree.
new. Like we didn't know the
That's
songs.
true.
Yeah, mine was the final Harry Potter movie. I think it was the final one, maybe the one before, you know, maybe it was part 1. But and I remember my granddad saying, you know, and he was like the first like unprofessional comedian in my life, you know, such a great guy. And it's so funny because at Every Man, you know, it's really comfortable and you can get food and stuff. But I remember him, which I think is great, and the food there is great. But it's like I remember someone had ordered like the nachos that you get, and he was like, Who brings a meal? Who brings a meal into the cinema? He's like, that's not right. He's like, this guy isn't even eating with a knife and fork. And I was like, you know, so I remember that story, and he said, yeah, I remember that a lot. Maybe it's just because of my granddad, but yeah, I don't want to take away from how
No, you know
good
what?
you guys' food is.
If you don't do it, someone is gonna do it for you.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
if
yeah.
you don't serve it, people will bring it
I like
in. So
that.
you may
Yeah,
as
you
well.
guys serve it, and it's
Yeah,
nice
yeah.
and it's there,
Yeah.
and the buffalo chicken, you guys did it amazing.
Last night, I met this girl called Emily. Felt like time stood still. Oh, no, what are you saying? No fault.
I feel like the kids have been yearning for like a good nostalgic rom-com, and Finding Emily was just like, for me it exceeded all of my expectations. But I wanted to ask, were you inspired by any classic rom-coms when you were looking at what Finding Emily would end up being?
Of course. I was inspired by what I think are the greatest ones, which are the ones between 1989 and 2001 with
Okay.
When Harry Met Sally and Bridget Jones, and everything in between is like Sleeps in Seattle and 10 Things I Hate About You and Clueless, and that decade of films.
Love Clueless.
Yeah, I mean, iconic. And so that sort of decade of films I kind of decided were the best ones, because it was sort of like pre-social media, pre-too much phone action, and yeah, just the characters felt very real and honest, and like they lived in the real world and weren't characters in a movie. So it was that kind of sort of style, I guess, was really inspiring.
Mm-hmm. I guess as well, because there was no social media, there wasn't necessarily something to easily compare them to, so it didn't feel like a caricature. And I think Finding Emily was very much that as well. And when it came to Spike and Angourie, did you know some of their work before, or did you kind of meet them when it was time to look for?
I knew that well. I knew Angourie before, like obviously The Nice Guys when she was just a little kid. Like her comic timing is just.
I didn't
exquisite.
even realize that was her.
Yeah,
oh my god.
Baby Angourie is in The Nice Guys, and she's so good, and she holds her own, and she's just fantastic. And then of course her in Mean Girls, and she's in The Beguiled. She's just made some really interesting choices across her career, and she's such a good actor, and she's so dedicated, and she's clever and brilliant. And so when we met, I was just like, yeah, you're super interesting. And Spike was a complete surprise. Like, his tape came in really last minute. I didn't know his work before. I mean, now I definitely do. But I actually never saw Alien Romulus, because I know that he dies in a really horrifying way in that movie. No spoilers. Well, that is a spoiler. And I was like, I don't need to watch him. I don't need to watch him die. He's my leading guy. Mm-hmm. So I was like, so that is one that I haven't seen. But yeah, he's such a joy, and the two of them together were just instant chemistry, and yeah, they're heaven.
I was gonna, well, you kind of said instant chemistry, but was there anything that you guys did in the lead up to the first day of shooting to build their chemistry and their familiarity?
I sent them out to play darts together. I was like, you guys have to go to the pub and you have to play darts.
Not electric shuffle?
Not electric shuffle. No, I sent them to play darts, and the three of us hung out, and we had dinner, and we chatted, and we did a lot of like rehearsals, and they both made playlists of, like, because the music was a big part for me, and I was making my own playlist. So I was like, you guys make playlists of the music that you think are kind of like relevant to your characters, and not that I was ever going to mark them, but I was like, I think music's a really big part of both of their lives. So so it was just making them feel like really like bedded in people, and yeah.
And I think music is also like you say, a big part of their lives, but also like a huge part of, I think, what makes this film feel so grounded and authentic is because it doesn't feel like we're listening to our For You page or something while we're seeing them film as well. What was your thought when you were sort of thinking about what music would come into the film?
I just really wanted the music to be a kind of sonic narrator. I wanted it to hold the whole film and like feel a kind of comforting rhythm somehow. Because I think music's such an important part of being a human being, and it says when you can't. It says what you want to say when you can't find the words, and so it was really important to me. And obviously, some of the best bands in the world have come out of Manchester, the Smiths and Oasis, etc. And so I wanted to. It was really important that we nod to that legacy, but I also really wanted to showcase some of the newer bands, some of the newest sounds, and different kind of musicians coming out of Manchester, of which there are a lot. And that was one of the funnest bits, was going to gigs, was doing a lot of research of who was making music and what their sounds were, and what was their messaging. So it was such a fun part of it was sort of bringing the soundtrack together and the bands and musicians within it.
It sounds like a dream pre-production. And my final question is, have you been to an Everyman?
Yes, of course.
Okay. I was going to say, one of my favorite things we do is every week we bring back an old film to kind of show on the big screen. I recently watched The Wolf of Wall Street at the cinema for the first time. I'd only ever seen it on like my iPad. But do you have a film that maybe you watched at home, on streaming, whatever, that you would love to experience at a cinema in that kind of ambience?
original, one of the first rom-coms is It Happened One Night, which is, I think it's like 1930s, 32 or whatever, one of the original like talkie rom-coms anyway. And it's so crazy that rom-coms have got such a sort of bad rep now, because that rom-com, It Happened One Night, like won like all of the awards at the Oscars that year, and
Wow.
and it's such a gorgeous film. And so I would say I would love to see that in the cinema again, because it's such a huge inspiration and it's so classy, and it's the original kind of two opposites ranging around on a mad task journey together. Yeah,